To our 18th social media breakfast, and thank everyone for taking time this morning right before the long weekend to come and join us at our 18th breakfast. My name is Alex Boda. I'm the managing director at SMByyc Design, and I'm one of the people right now in front of you, but behind the scenes that are organizing and making social media breakfast a reality. Who's here for the first time at a social media breakfast? Oh, that's awesome. So for those of you who are not that familiar with social media breakfast, what it is it's an event that we try to maintain as kind of a free and informal social networking event, focused primarily on the promotion of an application of social media in business and nonprofit environments. The way we kind of organize the event is what you've just kind of seen so far. Is we try to have bring sponsors in to provide, give us the room, provide us with a location as well as the food, and give everybody an opportunity to mingle, meet, and chat. And then we have a speaker that comes and talks about various aspects, various facets of social media, and as it applies in a business environment. Now, social media breakfast is more of is actually an event that happens across many cities in North America, and a couple of months ago, it actually even left the continent. And there's now social media breakfast in Singapore, I believe, and I think in London as well. I can't remember now. I can't keep track of the new ones starting. But but that's really what social media is all about. We try to keep it informal, and if you have any questions at any time, feel free to ask. I would like to thank, as a free event, this is we want to thank the sponsors that make this event possible. Primarily, MarketWire Sysomos for promoting this event and pushing this event out and helping us promote it, as well as our big sponsor today is MRU for hosting the event and providing the breakfast. At this point, I would like to actually get... yeah, go ahead, clap. That's fine. I would like to invite Deepa to come up here and just talk about the upcoming Social Media Shift conference.
Thanks, Alex. So my name is Deepa Acharya, and I am one of the committee members and organizers for our Social Media Shift Forum that's happening on June 23rd. And I just have a little bit of an intro video here. So we hope you all can make it to that. The early bird ends on Tuesday, actually, the 25th. And we have a contest going on. It is actually, just a second here, there we are. This contest is, if you look for the hashtag MRU Shift and follow Mount Royal for You on Twitter, you have a chance to win a free ticket to this wonderful event, which includes all of your refreshments, lunch, breakfast, and a variety of great speakers, including Scott Stratton coming in from Vancouver, Toronto. Sorry about that, Ontario. All right, so anyways, I hope that you all can join us, but please retweet this, look for it, and we hope to see you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So just put it back to this. Now, the social media breakfast itself it takes quite a bit of effort to put together. So on top of the sponsors, we also have a number of people in the background that help us out to make this event happen. So I'll invite you to follow our group on Twitter. There's our contact information on there. And I really want to thank Donna and Chet and John for really being the workhorses behind today's event to make it happen. Now, one of the things is we're always looking for, as a free event, we're always looking for new locations. We're always looking for food sponsors. So if you know of any venue like such as this one that would be available for us to host the event in, please come talk to us. One of the things that we're trying to do is we are trying to move it between various locations to give as much exposure to as many people as possible, and different locations can enable different people to be able to attend. So if you have, please contact Donna. If you know of any location that we could that we can host the event at. Along with that, we're also looking for we always look for food sponsors as well. The cost of the food is about $350, and if you're willing to, if you would like to sponsor, or if you know someone who would be interested in sponsoring this event, please contact SMByyc, John behind the scenes. Hey, John. Hello. And also, we always want to get feedback and find out exactly what kind of topics you want to hear at these events. If you would like to speak, if you would like to have a topic covered, or if you know of someone who'd be interested or be willing to talk at these events, please contact Chet, and there she is. She organizes all the logistics behind our speakers. And of course, please follow us on Twitter. Who doesn't have a Twitter account here? Hey, one honest man. That's awesome. The rest of you are obviously experts, so there is our hashtag. There is our Twitter handle. Any updates with respect to the social media breakfast are going to be on that Twitter feed as well. We also want to highlight so if you're up in Edmonton next Friday, the social media breakfast in Edmonton is being held at the CBC Center Stage downtown. So. And our next Calgary event is going to be June 17th at the Melrose Place. And we'll thank Genome Alberta for sponsoring the food for that one. Now I would like to bring Sarah Blue up. Sarah? Oh, okay. Sorry, I just didn't see any stir. I'm like, okay, this will get awkward really fast.
Thank you. Do I have to hold this the whole time? Do I have to hold this the whole time? Hello? Oh. No,
I guess not.
Okay, I'll turn this off.
Yeah,
Oh. Do you know where my slides are? Oh, no. Oh. I had a really nice font on this page, but apparently it didn't load, so it's not made with as much love as I had the other day. Made with like. Yeah. Made with somewhat non-committal like. I'm actually kind of nervous to be here today because a lot of my friends are here, and you guys all know about the internet and social media. Normally I talk to people and I'm like, this is Google. It will make your life better. And people are like, you're amazing. And then I found out Doug spoke last month. How am I supposed to talk Doug? He knows a lot about everything. So I decided what I would do because everyone knows, obviously, a lot about social media. You're all experts, and you're probably, please tweet nice things about me. Do you know when you're giving a talk and then people are like, this girl totally sucks? And you're like, I'm trying really hard up here. Yeah, please tweet nice things about me, and I promise not to make any inappropriate jokes this morning because my significant other is in the audience, Dr. Cuddles. They're at the back. He's made an appearance in Calgary. Okay, so today I'm talking about how to build an online community. I thought maybe it would be a topic that some of you would be interested in, and it's a little different than just the social media do's and don'ts and how-tos. So to start your online community, what you want to do is start small. You don't want to have a big launch. There's nothing worse than prepping for months and months with some sort of fancy website that has all the bells and whistles, but you have no one in your audience. So the best way to start is just think of one thing that you can talk about somewhere where people are already talking. So you can hop on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever people are. Just start small, say, hey, what do you guys think about this? How do you use our, how do you use our product? All that sort of stuff. As it picks up, what you can, how long do I have to speak?
We'll give you the wrap it up.
Okay. And if you have any questions at any time, just jump in. As it picks up, as people start responding to you and you start making some friends, what you can do from there is add a blog or something like some free forum software onto your website and just talk about things that you're doing with your company, whether it's, how people like your product, what you're actually doing to build up this community, so what's working, what isn't. People are interested in that sort of stuff. And honestly, by small, I mean, think one person, so don't talk to your mom first. I tried doing that. My mom's just embarrassing all the time, but bring on one of your friends and start a dialogue there, and then from there, someone else will see you. I could be saying, oh, hey, I'm trying to pick people out of the audience. Oh, hey, at Sugar Willa, what do you think about my new... Now I'm trying to think of a product that someone here uses, but I can't. That's okay. And then build a conversation from there. So really start small. The next thing you want to do is really understand what your members want. And here's where I think it's appropriate to ask, what do people do? I just heard that everyone here is a real estate agent or a mortgage broker. Is that true? How many people are real estate agents or mortgage brokers? Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. And then how many people work in, social media? Yeah, see, that's why. It's a lot of pressure here. How many people are in marketing? Oil and gas? Nice, yeah. Thanks for keeping our economy going in Alberta. That's great. Okay, well now I know that not all of you are real estate agents. I guess I understand what my audience wants. The easiest thing to do here is sit down and ask 100 people, and people are like, really? That takes so much time. Can't I just guess? But you honestly don't know what people will want out of your community. I think and we see this all the time with large campaigns, a lot of brands guess as to what their members want, and it's really not the case at all. Several years ago, I was working on a project called the Robin Hood Fund, and we thought it would be great to give away this snowboarding vacation with a free snowboard and this weekend in Whistler, and it was going to be so awesome. But it's all stay-at-home moms on there, and they were like, what are you doing? No one even entered the contest. We're like, well, can we take the snowboard? It was embarrassing. So you don't want to do that. Just get out and ask people, which sounds really simple and easy, but you'd be surprised at how many, even agencies will come back with a proposal, and you'd be like, oh, well, my son's really into this. Did you talk to anyone like my son? And they'll be like, no, I didn't think about that at all. That's a really great idea. We'll have that as a takeaway and come back to you with some buzzwords. Okay, the next thing to do, which also is very logical and makes sense, is research every other community in the space. So I don't know if you guys saw that video on College Humor the other day about the hardly working startup guys. Did anyone see it? It was, if anyone's taking notes, make a note to look at that, because it's really funny. But there's a lot of people like that are like, oh, no. I know there's another community exactly like ours, but, ours is totally different. You're like, what? So every community in your space obviously has good points because there are people hanging out there. So you should probably go and research them to see what they're doing before you jump in and try and do something different. The other thing is don't try and be everything to everyone. So make yourself indispensable for one thing, and then you can build off that. I think, Facebook is a good example of that. They made themselves indispensable for, getting college guys laid by their college guys' friends. Is that an inappropriate joke? That isn't really, is it? And then from there, they added more stuff. I just got a head shake. Don't say stuff like that again. Okay. Noted. Okay, the next thing when you're building a community is you have to know the difference between a good and bad community. So a community isn't always about the numbers, and having a lot of Twitter followers doesn't make for a good community. Actually, I would say that Facebook and Twitter are not communities, but that's debatable. I mean, you can always have great discussions on either, so you can call that a community. I'll give you that one. So examples of really great communities, though, are Polyvore, Yelp, obviously, and Flickr. Actually, Yelp and Flickr aren't really great communities. They're like obsessive communities. So I don't know. Wendy's not here. I wouldn't be here either on a Friday morning if I had a job like Wendy. She's a great example, or Yelp is a great example of a community with like really obsessive community members. So they sort of the community managers seed information or ideas like giving shout outs and kudos to everyone, and then community members actually take that over. So if anyone's had a review of the day here, you know that there's people in other cities that will go through every single day and give like a little shout out to every person that's had a review of the day in every city, which is insane. I wonder who their boss is, Don't you kind of like wonder, how did you get that job where you can just sit on Yelp all day and just give shout outs to people? I need that job. Anyway. And then the thing to remember there is obviously one person that loves you is worth, 1,000 or possibly 1 million people that just follow you and don't engage. Obviously, when you're building a community, you want members to join. How am I doing on time? I don't know what time I started. Oh, okay, perfect. Okay. So you want to make it really easy for people to participate. So the goal is to get people to participate first, and then to fill out their information and profiles. So as soon as you pull people in and get them interacting, then they'll want to fill out those profile pages that you, as an employee of the company, want them to do, right? Because obviously you want their information, but they don't really want to give it up to everyone because then you'll be sending them emails once a week and telling them to buy more stuff. So if you draw them in, get them interacting, do that first, and then slowly build up all of the rest of their information. Also, you have to find out what they value. Am I going at a nice speed? Are people? Okay, cool. All right. And no one has any questions? Okay. So once you figure out what they value, you want to figure out how to display that, right? So is it through something like badges? So you could do, obviously, the Foursquare badges, I think that's all Foursquare is, and I don't really know what you get for your badges or your points. But people are totally into it, obviously. I was on a boat, and I'm like, I'm on a boat, just to get the badge. You can also do external badges. So there's stuff like BlogHer has, I'm a member of BlogHer, or I'm a... Are you sending a mean tweet? Oh, okay. You were laughing. Okay. They're looking at their phone, and I'm like, I'm stressed. Sorry. So you can do badges like that. You can list products that people have bought. So obviously, if you have the Apple fanboys and stuff like that, that's something. So you have to think of what, if someone's joining your community, what are they hoping to get out of it, and how can we make them feel important? Obviously, there's like levels achieved too. So LinkedIn kind of does that with how much you fill out your profile, or you have like extreme dungeon master next to people's names, and you know they're kind of a big deal. Or at least my brother would think they were kind of a big deal if it was extreme dungeon masters. Sorry, that's not funny. All right. The other thing to think about when getting people to join is just how are you positioning the community. So a lot of people want to be first, which I would say is not the best idea because, I mean, look at Orkut. It's popular in Brazil. Some people want to be the biggest, which obviously if that's where everyone else is hanging out, that's probably a better strategy, but it's hard to start off as the biggest. You really have to work up to that. Another thing to do, especially with hyperlocal sites, is be the most exclusive community. So that provides a lot of value for people and gets them to join. The next thing, obviously, as you're getting members, you want to encourage influencers to join. So Doug doesn't think Justin Bieber is an influencer. I just came back from China, and I'm pretty sure the Bieber haircut is like, I bet you there's 10 million people in China with the Bieber haircut. So I think he's amazing. They also love karaoke. You really haven't lived until you've been in a karaoke bar over there and listened to someone singing Justin Bieber horribly. That was me. No, just kidding. So to get influencers to participate, I think like the key thing is to make it easy for them. So something I deal with a lot is people saying, you know, well, I talked to so-and-so, an X-Flame or a music celebrity or whatever, and they said they'd help me, but they don't ever do anything. And it's just like a matter, I mean, everyone's busy, right? So you have to make it very, very easy. What I normally do is just make a list of key influencers, and I usually divide it up into 4 different sections. So I'll just read from my notes here. There's like the celebrity influencer, there's the authority influencers, there's the teacher researcher type influencers, and then there's the networker, which I think a good, oh no, I won't do that. So from there, just make a list of 20 to 50 of them, which sounds ridiculous, but when you're a community manager, lists are everything. So the more lists you can have, the better. And with that list, just have all of their contact information and just cycle through it and just email them or call them stuff with like, hey, are you interested in writing a guest post? Can you be on this panel? Can you comment on this relevant forum post, you know? And you really have to do stuff like send them an email and say, hey, this forum post is talking about something that's right up your alley. Here's what was said. Can you do a 2-line reply? And then send them a link that actually connects to your website and make sure they're logged in and everything. So all they have to do is type in a few lines and then they're good, right? And people really value that. The more influencers and sort of celebrities, sorry, I just wanted to use that word once. People you have, the more legit people think your community is, which is somewhat ridiculous. I mean, there's no reason why random person A couldn't be the authority, but if no one knows that they're an authority on a subject, it doesn't carry a lot of weight. The other no-fail trick for getting influencers to participate is to publish a list of most influential people in your community. People love that. They'll link to it. They'll read it. And I mean, everybody loves the, like, I'm so popular thing. As I was just mentioning, when you're a community manager, you love lists. So my best friend is the editorial calendar, and I use Google Documents for everything. I'm on the road a lot, and it just makes everything easier. People know how to use it. And I actually have, to start, when you're starting your community, you should have at least 3 editorial calendars. So my first one is has everything that I'm planning on doing for the next month. And I kind of divide it up into a theme each week, and then from there it goes down to like granular detail of these are the types of blog posts I'll have, these are the type of Facebook posts. On Monday, I'll have 3 tweets with original content, 2 tweets of thanking people in the community. And is there water somewhere? Sorry. Thank you. And then one retweet, right? I'll go that detailed for everything in the first copy. In the second editorial calendar I'll actually fill in the exact content that I'm posting everywhere. It helps you keep track, and then when it's all in one sort of spreadsheet, you can see here's where my holes are, here's what I've done way too much of, all of that sort of stuff. And then in the third editorial calendar, I just take that, I copy it, and then I mark out exactly what the effect was. So how many people did it reach? How many people commented? How many people replied? How many people forwarded it? All of that. Obviously, stats are what keeps your boss happy. So as long as you can show him or her, week after week, we're growing, all of this sort of stuff, it works really well. Also, it really helps you fine-tune what people are after, right? So you can sort of guess, like, oh, I think people really like it when I'm telling them about upcoming events. But you really have no idea until you see how many people are forwarding it, how many people are clicking on things, all of that sort of thing. And to see it all together is amazingly helpful. On top of planning out what you will say, you want to also plan interactions with every single member, especially to start. Obviously, once you hit 1 million users, this will no longer be possible, but nobody here is there yet. So when you're starting out and you have like 5 members that sometimes log in and say stuff, you want to be holding their hand all of the time. What I recommend is to use like a Salesforce type tool to put in everyone's name and information and then tag them as many ways as possible. I have to give a shout out. She's not here, but Shelly Kuiper is my old boss, was like the best at this. She really taught me how important this was. And when I say tag them as many ways as possible, I would tag myself with things like social media, community manager, kind of obsessed with unicorns, likes lip gloss, weird about Star Wars. Like, you want all of these different, every piece of information that you can get from a community member, you can then turn around and have more personal interactions with them. The goal is then, you can send one-off emails to them and say, hey, just noticed that it's May 4th, know you love Star Wars, may the 4th be with you. Stuff like that. Thank you so much. Sorry. That felt really cool and demanding. Like, hey, is there water here? What's going on? Moderately important, somewhat, for this half hour. Yeah, so now I've lost my train of thought because I'm busy feeling important. May the 4th be with you. Right. So from there, as you start, you do have to send the one-off emails, but as your community grows, then you have all of this information that you can send out, group emails that still seem really personal. Like, you can send off a Salesforce email saying, hi, insert first name here. We know that you love unicorns. So it still keeps everything really personal and close. Okay, so you're getting members, you've got influencers, you're interacting with them, whatever, and then you need them to keep logging in, because this is the big thing about Web 2.0 type websites, communities, is people like to jump on the bandwagon, sign up for everything, and then you never log in again, which is good for like a hot minute, and then you're like, it's empty in here and no fun. So I always think, my mother always used to say this when I was young, be like, I'm bored. She'd be like, only boring children get bored. I love you, Mom. So what you want to do to retain members is, to start, you want to plan how and where members will interact. So another thing that we see often is to get a community rolling, people will have a contest that really plans for one interaction with the website, the contest is done, and then people don't know what to do, right? So you want to keep it simple yet meaningful, give people a reason to keep logging in. You want to make sure that it's not like a ghost town when people log in, like, oh, I entered this contest and I uploaded a picture and now what do I do? But you also don't want to, overwhelm people with information like at the fun fair where you're like, where do I go? Candy floss, whack-a-mole, I don't know what to do. So just aim for something in between there. That point was be smart, plan smart things. That's good. And again, lots of comments on one thing are better than 100 topics with no comments on anything. As you're getting members, if you notice that they're not logging in again, you can start asking them questions, which is another no-fail trick. They can be on topic, like how do you use our product is kind of the most simple one. They can be completely off topic. I'll give another shout out to Wendy. She's amazing at this. She's like, what are you doing Friday night? They can also be a mix. So if you're a startup or a small business, you can say stuff like, hey, we're going down to San Francisco to pitch at some angel investor conference. We're really excited about it. Where should we go to eat? Stuff like that. You're letting your community know about all the great things you're doing without sort of tooting your own horn too much, and also asking their advice, which people love because people love giving advice. Along with in their retaining members, you want to clearly show how you expect people to behave and interact. So if you are setting up a model, where it's a contest or you're saying it's okay to log in 50 times a day and vote or doing something like that, you're showing people that it's okay to have what community managers would consider bad behavior. So I always use the example of a dinner party. You want your community to be like a dinner party, and the host is you. So everything that you're doing has to reflect that. Another great way to get people to keep coming back is just to collect things from the internet and spew them back out. So you can do a weekly link roundup about topics that interest your community. It's a lot. We all get sort of behind on our Google readers and news feeds and stuff like that. So if you're putting everything in one location for them on a topic that's interesting to them, that's helpful. You can interview members. You can introduce members to other members. I think one thing that would be said about all good community managers is that they're like the first person you want to talk to if you're looking for a job, because they know everyone, right? So that's really helpful to get people to keep coming back. Oh, and again, here, just ask members what they want. That's going to be the takeaway for today. Ask people what they want. They'll tell you, and then you can do it. Works out well. How am I doing on time? Oh, I'm kind of, okay. We'll go quickly. So getting members to invite others, obviously you don't want to keep doing all of the work all of the time. You're already emailing everyone with personal interactions and all that. As your community grows, you want it to become self-sustaining and work from there. Just remember that people will invite others for one of two reasons. It's either to increase their status within the online community or to increase their status with their friends. People are pretty, everyone's pretty simple. That's kind of why you do things. So you can go, there's a million ideas for this. You can, again, interview community members, give them exclusive invites. You can crowdsource a paper or a website. iStock Photo just did this with their 10-year anniversary. They made a beautiful website. We'll just quickly go through this. You want to reward the correct behavior. I touched on this earlier. Usually quality over quantity is the best type of situation. You can, personal touches here work really well too. That's like my overly Canadian accent because I'm spending a lot of time in the US. New dude boot it. So don't underestimate the value of just sending one-off things. So if you have a community member that's getting married. Maybe it has nothing to do with your community. Probably doesn't, unless you have a wedding blog. Send them a little gift. Stuff like that, people just go on and on about forever. So that is definitely worth it. And just highlight your community's expertise. So organize events and get them to speak. Arrange speaking engagements for them in other events, different conferences, stuff like that. Again, publish ebooks, blog posts, all of that. Get PR for your members, not for your community or you. That's the worst. Yeah, those community managers that are like, I'm so awesome, I'm gonna do this. And then you see them interviewed all over the place and you're like, what about your community? That's awful. Basically, the goal is to make their lives and or jobs better and or easier. And obviously here with the rewards too, if you don't know anything about gaming theory, you should look into that, but that's kind of, I think probably you guys have talked about it at a separate breakfast already. And kind of what to do in crisis situations. So trolls, bad PR, all of that sort of stuff. I think trolls I like to put on my kindergarten teacher hat. I think that there are no bad people in the world. It's just somebody is misunderstood. So if someone is being a negative influence on your community, just think about it as they're just trying to be heard. So maybe they don't understand the rules, maybe they're new and they think this is an appropriate way to behave, anything like that. The easiest thing to do is send them a quick email and be like, hey buddy, what's up? Often the trolls in your community can become your biggest fans and supporters. So to engage with them in the correct way and turn them around is pretty easy and worth your time. Having said that, I don't know is anyone here actually a community manager or no? Thanks, Doug. Okay. Is anyone finding this interesting? Just raise your hands. Thank you. Sometimes in all communities you get, this is my favorite topic. It's too bad that there aren't more you have to clean house. So if there's a group of people in there that are just like bringing down your community and they're always negative, this is my favorite moment. It only happens maybe once every other year, but you get to clean house. And my advice is just to do it like swift hand of God. So you just go in there, delete everyone that's negative, make one complete statement about it, and never speak of it again. It just whips everybody else into line like you wouldn't believe. Anyway. The other crisis situation people deal with a lot is bad PR, obviously. And this is old hat probably for the social media people. You just want to be transparent, but don't apologize unless you've actually made a mistake. Just be honest, be as prompt as possible, and engage with all parties. You want to set the story straight, stop the story dead in its tracks, and then move on. So you don't want to drag it out. As the longer you drag it out, the longer there's more back and forth, the longer everyone looks bad and you won't win. And finally, don't be surprised at how long it takes. So before you start, expect at least 3 months of work. After you start, expect to feel like nobody's coming to your birthday party for a little while. But it will grow, it takes time, and it'll work out if you keep at it. I just wrote down here a couple of quick points here that I think are important. Always keep it about the members. Never refer to people as your community members, because they don't like that. They're not your community members, they're members of the community in which you are a part of. Always be honest, but not to a fault. You don't have to tell anyone that they actually don't look good in those pants. Be realistic about what you accomplish. And finally, remember that meeting people is always a celebration, and it's an amazing thing, getting people together on the internet. Yeah, so I have time for questions now, I think. Do I? Oh, okay. So, does anyone have any questions for me? I'm really nervous still.
Any questions? Yeah.
Oh, Doug. Thanks, Doug.
I'm curious to hear more about the whole Salesforce.com thing and the tracking and then flipping over to email and stuff. Can you kind of just describe how that plays out and what the upside of that is?
Yeah. Well, the downside is how many people have worked with Salesforce or anything like it, just to get an idea? Okay, so not very many. When you first start, you will hate Salesforce and put like a curse on it and all of its children. But as you get it's tedious work, but basically what it is it's a tool that helps you keep track of all of your members, and it goes through it. You can send your emails actually through Salesforce or through something else, and tag them in different ways. So you could tag people as an influencer, or as an investor, or anything, any way you like, and then from there it helps you group people in different ways. There's a million things you can do with it. This is how I use it. My friend in San Francisco originally mentioned it as a good tool for stuff like community management, and he called it the Raferizer because his buddy's name is Rafe, and his buddy would do stuff like take little notes like, Doug really likes reading about possums. I don't know where possums came from. I'm sorry, Doug. Okay. And then, so like 6 months later, he would send Doug a note and be like, oh, I saw this article in The Atlantic about possums. And so it helps you keep in touch with people in a real way instead of, it's not that you don't care about every single community members and Doug's weird obsession with possums, but nobody can remember all of that, right? Nobody can remember all of that, right? So it's just kind of making you into like an Uber version of yourself. Does anyone else have any questions? Amanda. Okay.
Just for 1 second, I'll get just so that everybody can hear the question.
Just talking about how much do I charge?
Yeah, for community management, sort of depending on your experience, people charge anywhere from $30 an hour to probably, $7.50 an hour. I would say the average is about $150 to $150 or $50 to $150 an hour, and then from there, by month, obviously, if you have a full-time job, you're not going to be charging someone $150 an hour unless you're working in oil and gas, maybe, I don't know. So that's the average. Same for social media. It depends, and it also depends on the level of engagement. If you're working for an agency, find out what they charge an hour and charge $50 less. That's what I always say. So if they're charging $150 an hour, charge $100 an hour, and that's what it is. I hope there's no agency people here, but yeah. Anyway. That's kind of standard. If you're a new grad, starting out at $30 an hour and showing how awesome you are, you'll move up very quickly in the world. I don't know why I said that. I said that because we're at Mount Royal, but there's not any new grads here, so that's okay. Any other questions?
What's your biggest social media fail, and what did you do to recover from it?
My biggest social media fail. Oh, fail? Oh, there's been a lot. I don't even know. One time I sent obviously the direct message that you think you're sending a direct message and you don't is awkward at best. Through different failures, you learn to never say anything negative on the internet ever, whether you think it's completely private or not. Just be nice to everyone. I wish I'd prepped for that question because I think I probably could have had some really funny stories. Okay, I'll think about it. Okay. Oh, are we done?
I got a quick question.
Okay.
Earlier you mentioned that there's the 4 different categories or 4 different lists. You've got the celebrities, the teachers, researchers, authority, and the networkers. Can you just maybe do a rundown of what what separates, depending on the type of community that you have, right? You've got what would constitute a celebrity. What's the difference between an authority versus someone that's a researcher?
Yeah, I just separated them out into 4 because it's easier to keep track. Obviously, the celebrity is someone who's legitimately famous. So I don't mean like someone who's written a book about the internet and they go to South by Southwest, we were talking about this earlier, and they think they're really popular. If like your mom or your brother who doesn't hang out on the internet, doesn't know who they are, they're not famous. Sorry, Scott Stratton, who's coming to Mount Royal next month. Yeah, I think he might legitimately be famous at this point. Anyway, so a celebrity is like getting Kim Kardashian to come to your community and write something or something like that. The authority is there's always sort of one person who is the authority on a topic. Depending on how large your community is, obviously if your community is about movies or something, there would be way more. The teacher researcher is that person in your group who is always available to help. Actually, I would say Doug, who's sitting here at the front and asking questions. I didn't even plan that. That's sort of the teacher researcher role, and you really need that person within your community, and I would consider them an influencer. And then obviously the networker is someone like me who would go to conference or events and then just spends a lot of time doing this. And you need those in your community too.
Are there any other questions?
It's kind of a really quiet crowd.
Oh, right here. And by here, of course, everybody knows where here is.
I was wondering if you can elaborate a little bit more on the launch of a community, build anticipation, any strategies for try to make, get media involved or just try to make a big splash of the launch of the community?
Well, if you go back to my first slide, we talked about you really want to start small. If you're doing a redesign of the website or then once you've already got a pretty big following, then you're sort of launching, okay, we're doing this change and now you're having a media launch. At that point, you'll already have the contacts. If you're just planning on building a whole bunch of stuff with nobody interacting with you beforehand, it's pretty hard to do a launch because, you'll get to time media to get there at the exact same time as your supposed thousands of community members signing up. That's difficult. So if you start small and build it up and then have a launch, that's the way to go. Depending on what type of community it is, obviously within Calgary, dealing with somebody in PR or shout out to MarketWire, they can get you local press and stuff like that. Working with them is good. If you want something like Mashable or anything like that online, you really have to be, again, working through all of those other communities that are in your space, get talking about stuff beforehand, comment on other people's things so you become a known person in the space, and then you'll get that press. Does that help? Okay.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm actually curious about how you use Salesforce in terms of, there's a system there where you manage a list and then you have your community, which essentially could be another list. So are you essentially managing two systems, or does Salesforce allow you to integrate them a bit? Yeah,
being a community manager means managing like so many lists you go home and cry at night. But Salesforce is not a part of the community, so community members won't ever see it or use it. It's just a personal or obviously then business tool, depending on how large your team is, that you use on the back end. The other thing that's great about Salesforce is you can have multiple people logging in. Joe can see that I've sent an email to Tracy last Saturday, so then he doesn't need to, or we can check on Kimmy, worst made-up name ever, and see that no one's talked to her for 4 months, so we can be like, Matt, you need to talk to Kimmy, stuff like that. So it is completely separate from your community, and you do have to manage both, but then you have to manage a whole bunch of other stuff like your editorial calendars and all that sort of stuff. Your weekly reports for your boss, all that. Timesheets. No, it's lame. No one's laughing at my jokes today, is it? me. I was going to say, is it because you haven't had coffee? No, it's me. It's okay. Does anyone else have any other questions? What type of business do you have? Oh, that's exciting. I would say, like, where are you based? What part of the city? Cranston. What type of clients are you looking for? Are you mostly, I don't know a lot about Cranston. I was going to say, are you mostly looking for maybe stay-at-home moms? Is that offensive? Oh, okay. Like, figure out, I know, sorry. The only person I know that lives in Cranston is my best friend's sister, and she has 4 kids, and they're adorable, so I just, yeah. Yeah. Are you on Facebook or Twitter at all? Okay. So I would start just kind of skimming lists of people in Calgary and seeing if you can find anyone that's talking about that. You can start even by interacting with your friends and saying, you know, is it okay if I say, hey, so-and-so came in for a massage yesterday? And then even ask them, say like, hey, when you leave, do you mind putting something on Twitter saying that you really enjoyed your day here? And just start interacting with people on a social basis. And from there, you can start, if you know Champagne Fitness, shout out to Terry, who again is not here because it's Friday morning and no one wants to come on a Friday morning before a long weekend. She's a great example of someone that started out like that. I knew her as somebody that told rude jokes. And then I learned about her business and followed her blog and that sort of stuff. Start that way and just sort of feel out your audience. And from there, you can think up kind of more interesting or more engaging campaigns that will reach a wider audience. Does anyone want to tell me that I did a good job? Thank you. Oh, I'm done. Is somebody else supposed to talk, or are we?
Well, maybe I'll just wrap it up then, I guess. Thank you. So this is, thank you, Sarah. I also want to forget to mention, I want to thank Matrix Video for actually streaming this event. Yes, I forgot to mention that one with the sponsors, and there's Hanger Cat waving in the background as well. So, shout out to you guys. Thank you. And that's it for the formal presentation part. We welcome you and invite you to kind of stick around, network, and chat. If you have any questions that you want to discuss in private, either with any of the anyone on the social media breakfast committee or with Sarah, please stick around and ask questions, chat, network, and we hope to see you at the June event, on June 17th, as well as June 23rd at the Mount Royal social media shift. Right, thank you, and have a wonderful long weekend.